So if you want to send stock to the job card system, you, as per normal, create your stock in Odyssey, the departments, the customers, the suppliers, and then our syncing tool will every 5 minutes then in the background send it to your online job card system. If you found that you have created something and it doesn't send to the cloud, you can simply click here at the bottom and there's a little icon there. If you double click that icon, it will open up, and here you can now say I want to sync my contacts, that is your suppliers, your customers, and then if I want to sync my stock or suppliers, I just simply click on it, and if there was any new done, it will then send it to the cloud, to your job card system. So if you want to work on your Odyssey Jobcard system, you just type in odysseyjobcard.co.za and then click on the little login block there on the right hand side, and you will then put in your username and password there. And you will log in. So if it's a new customer or a new job that comes in, you just click on new, and on the headline side we have put general, but there you can add a few other tabs like installation, service, spray paint, setup, or something like that. I'm just going to do the basic one now, and let's call it the replace rubber on window. On the status tab, we leave it there as new, and once you've started creating your other technicians, you can then just choose your technicians there. So for now we'll just use that one. You can choose different job types if this was a call out or a labor or something like that, or a service. So I'll just put that on general. We can also put a priority on it. If you want to schedule this job for next week sometime, or annually recurring it every year at December 12 or something like that, you can just set that up, but normally I just leave the scheduler off. On the bottom part here, if there's any parts that you know of that you're going to use, you can then go into your different departments and go and choose what department you want to use. And let's say this is a rubber seal CCM 3259 that you know, or if this is maybe something with a chassis number or a serial number, you can put it in because it will pull a history of it. So we can even put in there, this is for a Nissan model Sabre 1600 XR, and the serial number, this is like the VIN number of the vehicle, and you'll be able to pull a history by clicking on the history there for future use. Order number, if the company's got an order number, you can put in an order number on that side. If there's a reference number, if you have different statuses that set up previously, you can also choose a different status there. So that is a description there. You can now also put in comments there, where the customer say there's something or it makes a noise or something like that. You can choose the general one. The customer will also see this, and the internal one is just for your sales staff or your technicians and so on. And there I can tell the system the client said it makes a noise after or when driving faster as 120 kilometers an hour, and we can add it, and it will be time and date stamped there. So once all that is filled in, I scroll to the top again, and here I can now just start typing in a name of the customer if it's a returning customer, or I can just go and search there, and this will be all the customers that's already on the system. You will see I can click on the mouse there, or I can open this up and it will show for this company there's 3 or 4 people in that company, and if I want to add an extra company, this is more to do for if you have a fleet, or let's say you're doing work for the university, and which faculty and which person inside the faculty, so you can break it up and add another person there, and then just click on the little mouse next to it once you're done, and it will pull up that customer's information. I can then there say own reference, it's mine as a customer that I want to give you, and then we can just check that everything is 100% on this. We can also set it up so that if there's a little tick next to the mobile number or a little tick next to the email, this customer will receive a email when this job card is completed. And we can also switch that off if you do not want him to get an email. So after this is done, I can then just go and click on create, and once the job card is created, I can now go to my print section, and I can then print out a client job card that he can then take home, and you can print out a technician job card for them to start working on the job and see exactly what is wrong on the job. So let's just open up a client one. By clicking on the print, you will see here at the bottom it will open up a PDF, and you can then just choose your printer that's locally installed on your machine. I've set it up this way, but we can change the blocks and add stuff here that you need. So that is your normal printout of that, and once you're done, you can just leave the screen open or just click on your job cards here, and you will see all your different job cards here. So typically a technician will now open his screen up, he will see the screen, and he will then say, okay, I want to start with this job, and you can then read what was the problem, replace the rubber, and go and see what type of vehicle this was, and also here on the right hand side when this job was created, by who the job was created, and also any notes that's on the system here. So now I can start with a job. If I use any of the items, you can now as a technician go into this screen, and I can go and say I want to add a line, and I want to go and search, sorry, not add line, I want to add a product there on the right hand side, and you can go and search now for, let's say, a 4 amp fuse. So I just start typing in 4 amp, and I press enter, and it will bring everything with a 4 amp up, and I can click that one, and I can say add product, and then I can now also go to add another one, and let's say this is a labor component, and I press enter. There is a labor of 250, and I can add it to there, and I can now also go and say, okay, you know what, we promised the customer we're not going to charge him on that, and it will then take out that component. Or if you want to say the actual hours work there was 4 hours by, let's say, 200, then we can also use that. I'm just going to delete it because this stock code is not in, you do not have a labor component in your Odyssey yet, so let's just use that specific one there. Once I'm done and I'm happy, I can now also go and write on this first page a summary. I can now also, here at the bottom I can put in comments by clicking on my comments and internal, and I can say there replace bushes and oil filter and the moment I add, it gets a timestamp of exactly what was said, and I can then also choose, is it the general one that the customer can see or just the internal one. I can also stop the job by saying waiting for client for a quote approval. So let's start that. We can put that in and then we select it, and it will also get linked here on the side where the customer is now waiting for the quote approval. So what we can do for a quotation, if we go to sales, the top part here is the quotation part, so I can then open that quotation up, and I can also add lines to that quotation by clicking here on the quote number, and now I can add the product. So if I want to add that one and this one and this one, I can add it to the product, and I can say update here on the right hand, and I can say got it. But I could also print the quotation out and send that to the customer. Also, at any stage I can go into a job and click there on print, and if I say print quote, it will then print that PDF quote there to the bottom. So there's my quote opening up, and the quote looks something like this. What is my prices, the excluding prices, and here at the bottom is my grand total. I've got your banking details and quotation and everything in there. This is the customer's name. He must sign for it and send it back. So we're going to close this, and let's assume they have accepted the quote. So now the customer or the technician can start the work on the machine again, and he can just move from this one waiting on the quote. We can also add any of these blocks extra for you. So here we can just say completed the job, and he must then just say the job is completed there. So the moment the job is completed, and he goes out of the back office, out of the job card, and just clicks on the top again, all the completed job cards you will see will then be able to pull through to your point of sale. So if